Callum, if you've been watching the news over the past couple of days, you will know that Elon Musk is taking us all to space. He is.
Yeah, apparently. We took a car to space or something.
Took a car to space, so like the next logical step is that we're all going to space. So I thought we should probably try something that would let us simulate how we, as human beings, are going to fare on other planets. And to do that, I'm using this early access game.
Highly scientific bit of software.
Highly scientific. So this is Oxygen not included. It's an early access game. It's $18.99 on Steam right now.
Oh, you know it's a good time when the bottom screen says development build TB-247630.
With a proper version number on it. I'm very happy about that.
That's some coding ass stuff.
Yep. So I'm going to generate a world. So this is the new game from Klei of...
that guy's not surviving in space.
No, because Oxygen is not included in space, as it turns out. So yeah, this is the game from Klei, new game from Klei. This is the Shank and Don't Starve and Invisible Ink.
Invisible Ink.
People.
Love that game.
And it is very much my jam. So let's...
Oh god, that guy in the middle's loving space. Look at him.
Yeah, who? Nails? Nails?
Nails. Whatever.
I don't know.
Loves them some space.
But yes, so let's just gen some people here. These people look pretty good. Let's shuffle Harold a few times, see what we get. Do you want Stinky? Do you want Grossman?
You got a group of people that love space.
Grossman's a level 12 scientist, so that's probably a good idea.
That's fine, yeah. You've got a physician, a technician, and a scientist. That's probably fine.
But they're a quick learner, but they're also flatulent, which is probably not a good idea. And also they vomit when they're stressed, which is probably not a good idea.
What? Is this Dwarf Fortress, Ewan? Is this just Dwarf Fortress?
The stuff you're about to see, it gets close at points.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
I'm into this. This is...
Yeah, I love the style of this. Like, it's Klei, but like, I love the stuff that they do. So, and let's do some cycles on colony name, and we are called... Nope. Hovel.
Space prison.
The Incredible Sewer. That'll do.
That'll do.
So let's start. So this is a procedurally generated game. It's a base builder, like, at its core. But there's a lot of things happening here.
Is this one of your self-titled assembly line games?
Kind of, yes, and you'll see how crazy this gets at points. So you start with 3 people and a box of rations and the teleporter. That's about it. There's no, again, this is early access, there's no story. That original thing said, like, there will be story that will evolve as you get further on in the game, but there doesn't seem to be much of that right now. It's very much
Is there a tutorial?
Nope. Well, there are occasionally things that appear up here in the messages, which are tutorials, but I'm skipping past them because I know bits and pieces of this. So let's just have a... So this is a procedural world. It's pretty big as well. I have never gone really much outside of this circle to show how well this has gone so far.
Okay.
There's water, lots of water. This is probably a good random generation. Actually, there's some big patches of water, lots of copper ore, sandstone is very important. Yeah, this looks alright. We might be okay here. So
do you have air?
Let's have a look by using one of the 10 overlays we have up the top here.
Oh god.
So this shows oxygen, or this shows usable air. So the light blue is
very breathable, barely breathable, unbreathable.
So you can see down here very quickly. This is all just carbon dioxide, just down here.
That's bad.
Yeah, there's also more carbon dioxide, oxygen. This all seems alright. There's occasionally methane, there's some hydrogen, there's lots of other things around here. And how you manage this is very important. So we'll get stuff going here. Just to show you the level of... there's tabs and lots of things going on in here. Yeah, so let's start stuff going. So at any point you can pause, and there's 3 speeds. So I usually just run it at medium normally and just pause and unpause with spacebar. So let's get stuff going. So we're just going to dig because we need some space and resources. So I'm just going to dig this out and start them digging. So you don't directly control your guys. You kind of give orders, and they will use AI to kind of work out what the next best thing to do is.
Much like one of these sort of games.
Yes. So, for instance, oh god, I can't actually see them now, but there's a
thing there,
a hatch under there. So actually, I'm just going to tell them to attack that, and they take that. They're smart enough to know that's probably the priority rather than continue digging. So
they're
going to keep digging, and they're dropping a bunch of stuff behind them. So the start of this game, you have to do like 12 things immediately, and you'd never have time for any of them. So the first thing that I need to keep doing is build some storage compactors, because all the stuff they're dropping behind them, they don't have anywhere to put it. so it'll just sit there and rot or just get in the road or whatever. So put a storage compactor. Tip 1 for this game, which people should play because I really enjoy it. But the storage compactors have a list of stuff that you can put in them. And if it starts with nothing, which is what this warning says, so you just tick all, and then they'll eventually start putting stuff back in there.
This game instantly reminds me of things like RimWorld and
it's very much it's very much in that realm. So once they've got their orders, they're going to start picking stuff up, dumping it in here. I built like 12 of these and could not figure out why nobody was putting stuff away. And it was because
you not told them what's in them.
And also, like, this list is populated from stuff that's in the world. So if you have if a new thing appears, it's not automatically added to the ticked list. You need to go in and make sure.
Oh, okay.
And also things
is it also there so you can like, if you make multiples of them, they can be like organized. You can say like only ore in this one.
Yes, and especially it becomes very relevant when you have stuff like when you do things like fertilizer. Like, you don't want fertilizer next to your food because then it gets poisoned. That kind of stuff. So you start organizing this stuff out. So we need some water. Water's going to be super important. So we're going to start. It's probably actually easier if we get this one, considering what we need to build. So let's just build a ladder that goes all the way down here. And that'll do it.
Is the ladder like in the foreground? Can that just be used to jump levels?
Yes, it can.
Or do you have to? What I'm saying is, like, do you have to dig out that stuff behind your ladder?
No. So the ladders will. So they dig first and then put the ladder in. So they're smart enough to. They're smart enough to do that. So it's a really useful way of like getting to places. Meanwhile, we also want to dig up some area up here because we need somewhere for them to sleep. So we'll get them up there. They'll start out. So if you've got a bunch,
dig on the ladder.
Yeah. So you've got a bunch of jobs that are going on at any point. One of the things in here is prioritize. So it shows you the priority of every job that's available. So you can say like,
that's cool.
Okay, since I'm not directly organizing guys, I definitely want this task to be level 8. So everyone will now go and do that first, and then things will be prioritized.
Oh, so higher numbers are more important.
Yep. Everything starts at 5, and you can kind of set stuff there. So you can see them like the ladders need sandstone to build. So if they don't have any sandstone, they'll run and pick some up and then come back. All of that kind of stuff. So now that we've got this, we want to go start working on this. So the first thing we'll need for water anyway. So there's two things. There's like 100 things we need, but let's actually figure this out. So we need
prioritize.
We need a place. So they're gonna need to poop soon because they start requiring toilets like immediately. So we're gonna need to do this properly.
Your man up there with the high top fade. Seemed like he was cold or something.
So the problem up there is that they can't breathe.
That person doesn't have oxygen. That's a bad idea.
So they can go up here and they can stay there for a little bit of time, but then they'll have to come back and breathe. So the first thing we need to do for this is, if you go to oxygen, we have the. So this is one of the like 100 things you have to do. So let's put
algae deoxygenator.
So this turns algae into oxygen, but needs power. So I also need to start generating power.
Right.
So, also, this up here, this is probably sand. I think this is sand here. So if you start digging it out, sand will fall, and it's covered up my ladder, so that can no longer be used. Yeah. So I now need to dig out this while we're doing that. We also need, so we need power. So this is all oxygen, so I can just dig through here and start producing some power. So let's.
I was gonna say, you've got random spots of like unbreathable gas appearing here. Is that because the dioxide like?
No, it's because they're breathing. It's because they're breathing out.
Oh, right, it's their breath. Okay.
So now it's
that makes sense.
So now it's night time, and we don't have anywhere for them to sleep, so they've all.
That person's passed out in the dioxide dune.
They are smart enough to at least wake up, go to somewhere where there's oxygen, and then. So there's a couple of times.
How are they asleep in carbon dioxide?
They'll pick up on it.
Pass out.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I've done this a lot. So I'm gonna build an actual floor here so I can start doing this. Energy is the next thing. So let's start putting. We don't have enough stuff. We need more.
That person needs to poop. They need to poop.
Everyone needs to poop. Okay, let's solve the poop problem first. Let's add an outhouse. Over here.
Way over there.
Way over there. For now.
Higher priority. Make it higher priority. They really need to poop.
They also need to eat, which is what's in there. Okay. So
are there like? Do you solve that with like farms and stuff? Can they farm?
Eventually farms. So they'll solve the food problem in a little second. So they're build that outhouse so they can at least start that.
Solve the poop problem.
Solve the poop problem. And that's fine. So let's start generating some. What happened?
That person's pooping on the ground.
Where? No. Oh shit. Yep. So liquid is a problem in this game, as it turns out, as it is for most people.
Are there fluid dynamics in this game?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because that pee's running all the way down the ground.
So now what I need to do is I need to go over the mop tool and tell them to go mop that shit up. So they will mop that shit up. And it turns it into these canisters of polluted water, which I also need to now get rid of, which is also a problem. So let's start getting rid of some polluted water. So let's go down to here, because the other thing turns out you need. So I've gone through like 3 games of this so far, and every one of them has died horribly. So you learn a couple of things. One of the things you need very quickly is a poop chute, which is
a poop chute.
Yeah, you need
like a place to get rid of your poop.
Yes, or just general waste, because once you start getting plumbing and stuff, that becomes important, especially later. I'm just gonna build a proper floor on all this, and then while I'm here, dig that out because some rock fell there, and also somebody can sweep and pick up all the stuff that's left there and put it in one of the things. So they'll go off and do that while somebody's working. So let's make a poop chute because this is very important. Let's put it away from.
So is it because you have an outhouse? Does that mean that somebody has to go empty that?
Yes, the outhouse and it gets blocked, and we'll put stuff on. We'll dump more stuff on the floor and all of that kind of thing.
Probably another storage container.
Probably yes, I do. You're right. Let's just add
that looks full.
So it is early access, but they've obviously done some of this stuff. They've obviously thought about quite a lot of this stuff. So I was like, I don't want to have to do this like every single time. So you can just take this thing, go copy settings, and say, okay, just dump this on my other ones.
Oh, that's good.
So that's a smart thing to do. So down here, I now need to get one person to start digging out a little poop chute down here. And what else? Oh, I was making power. That was the thing I was doing before I got distracted by the poop. So power.
That's an important thing to get distracted by.
But I also need metal. So I'm gonna start digging out. Where's the metal?
I've seen the phrase manual generator, and that just looks like a giant hamster wheel.
It's exactly what it is.
Excellent.
So you can start digging that out because we need some of this metal to do some of the power stuff.
So is there an ability to get more people? There must be.
So see this little bar on the side of the printing pod? So these guys appear to be clones or replicants of actual people.
Sure.
As this bar fills up, so it says there's another duplicate coming in a cycle, which is basically a day, and then you basically just print a new guy, and they come with like random stats and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Why have you stopped digging? Do you have
a higher priority?
Did I prioritize? Yeah, I should probably say
prioritize poop.
Yeah, okay. This is very important, so somebody should go do that. There we go.
There you go.
Oh,
they're all going to do it. There you go.
And then we need to build. So now we need to build an actual chute. So let's go.
They were saying they had a note there that looks like it smelled bad or something.
It probably
was like a nose with a.
Yeah, it probably smells bad. Like
they're farting a lot. That's why.
Because remember, one of them is particularly flatulent.
I see.
Again, prioritize 8. It's only because I told them all to clean up after themselves that they're actually not doing the stuff I want them to do. But this is going to be very important. Also, they're holding their breath again because the oxygen down there is terrible. But it's fine because this is only going to be for poop, so it's okay. So what I need here is a bottle emptier, and you will see why in a second.
That's a giant tap.
It's a giant tap, basically.
Okay.
And they've fallen asleep again. So you can see that he fell asleep in an area where there was no air, and he went up to go get some more air.
He's fallen asleep on a ladder
like that. Yeah, they do that. Okay, I should actually. Oh, because it was. Oh, right. Okay.
There are a lot of things to worry about.
While they're asleep, I'm gonna get somebody else to go and start digging that stuff out because I need the metal.
Because you want power for your oxygen.
Because I need power from my oxygen thing. So a couple of people are gonna go dig while they're digging.
It's all digging.
They're taking turns, and also build that thing. So there's just to get a clue of the other stuff that's available. So that was the oxygen overlay. There's also power, temperature, thermal comfort, light, plumbing, ventilation, decor, germs, farming and rooms. I haven't even dealt with rooms yet. I have no idea what the rooms are. Okay.
I'm assuming that's just like assigned spaces.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to clean up after that, and I'm going to say that this is for polluted water only. So now what they're going to do is, when they start sweeping, these cans of polluted water, they're just going to put in the bottle opener and just dump them down the shaft. Easy. So
right. It's to open the bottles of water.
Yes, so it gets the polluted water away from the stuff down here. So they're making ore. So now, since they're doing ore, I can start thinking about power. So power, we need a manual generator, and we need probably just a battery to keep it stored as well. And while they're doing that, we also need to wire all this up. So let's wire that there.
Oh, this is where you come alive, isn't it?
Yep. So the interesting thing is this, the tile that you can see here, the floor that I've been building. Normally, if you want to put wires or pipes through a floor, you have to just basically dig up the floor, but you can put it through actual floor
tile
quite easily. So let's wire that up. And while we're here, we also need cots. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them.
In the room with all the oxygen.
In the room where the oxygen is. Turns out that's super fucking important.
Will be made, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the oxygen hopefully will be made.
Yeah. Okay, you can stop. Cancel. Stop digging now. We've got enough. Oop. Cancel. Stop doing that.
It definitely has this kind of Klei aesthetic to it, where everything's just very... Like, they've gone back to their kind of more cheery style of, like, their Don't Starve. Like, everything's weird and cartoony. But
everything's got, like, a little bit of grime to it as well, which I kind of like. So let's just let some of this go. So they're going to clean that stuff up, because these things are seeds which you can use in farming, and I don't want them to get polluted by the dirty water. So they're going to start building stuff.
Yes, assigning bedding.
Yes, so they can go places to sleep now.
Sure.
So now they can start building
the power
hopefully. Stuff. So it's interesting.
Oh, there go the wires. Okay.
So like for instance, the power stuff, the manual generator needs a specific kind of metal, not necessarily copper. So like any metal will work.
Yep.
But you also don't want to use your valuable one. So let's choose a new person. Let's take somebody who is...
Take that Nicola guy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He was cool.
Stress response destructive. So when they get stressed, they hit machines, and also they cannot repair things, which is not great, but it'll do for now. Oh, also we need new beds because they're there now. So
yes, you have it. You
we
need another bed.
Dig out a little bit more. So things can go bad.
So that funnel thing is now going to turn all the carbon dioxide into oxygen, right?
Yes. So again, if you watch it in here, it started to already
there you go.
Pump out some oxygen. So they're all going to clean all that up, and then they're going to start. So now they're picking up the polluted water, dumping it in there, sticking it down here, and you can
But that's going to fill up eventually, right?
Yep.
Like,
yes, it is.
It seems like a very short-term solution.
Yep. It is. I will show you later why it's a short-term solution.
Okay.
Okay, so what have we got going on?
Is there a more permanent solution to the pee and poop problem, or is
not that I've seen? It has to go somewhere. It can be recycled.
Okay.
Much later on, but yeah. Okay, so now we've got bedding. Oh, actually, we need another bit of bedding. Let's add that in there. That's all powered. You can see the power's going through. You can see how much power it generates, how much it stores, and how much it gets used. So you have to manage like there's enough power going through and all this kind of stuff. So the next thing we need to do is get some where are you? Stations. Research. Which also needs power. So let's just stick a research. This is actually hurting me how bad I'm laying this place out. But it'll do for now because I'm doing this for a video. But
I was gonna say, yeah, you're not exactly gonna keep.
So what I'm gonna do after this is, after I show you some of the initial play of this, I'm gonna take you into a couple of the other games that I have, so they can all now sleep properly in a place with oxygen, and it's lovely. And also you'll see these fuckers. So these are hatches. These are creatures that only come out at night, and they eat the resources that you've put and produce other things. But it's not necessarily bad because they eat resources and produce coal. So coal's useful. So you can see him he's eating resources and then leave behind a little bit of coal. So
coal's a fuel.
So you can totally farm these dudes as well, which is interesting. So you can get them for meat and use them to turn stuff into coal. So now I have a research station, and I have a research tree.
Oh god.
Which has all this stuff. So the first thing we want to do is plumbing, because the plumbing is the really useful stuff. So you can see in this tree you've got 2 numbers. You've got a blue number and a purple number. The blue number is the novice research station, and the purple number is the advanced research station, which you need to actually research. It gets complicated, but anyway, so they can start doing that. So this is now a task, so somebody will go and start doing science, as you can see. And they'll start...
Yeah, that's how you do science.
Start plumbing away at some science. Yep, totally.
I can tell you for a fact that's how you do science.
So this happens every now and then as well, where you're like, everyone's standing around and there are tasks waiting to go. So you have to very quickly go, okay, what the fuck is happening? Why is nobody doing anything? Why are they not picking stuff up? Oh, it turns out all our storage compactors are full. Okay, sure. So we can build some more of them. But also, they're probably not got everything because they don't have seeds for it. They're not taking seeds, for instance. So that's also a problem. So we'll start doing that. And then suddenly they all start picking up and cleaning up and doing all that kind of stuff. So the next thing we need to sort is food.
Running on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, so let's start sorting some food. So we don't have enough stuff for farms yet. Let's just make sure I get picking stuff up. So the only option we have for food currently is the microbe musher, which is the worst named thing ever, because it is this thing, which I also need to wire in to this, and you'll see why it's terrible in a second. Once they build it.
I mean, it doesn't have a good name, so
let's just tell it you need to go build this now. Some needs to generate power, so they can actually do this stuff. Let's just make sure. Are you building? Yes, you're delivering. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, they're finally building it. So the micro musher is the thing that generates food. So I can tell it to make mush bar, which has the ingredients of dirt and water, and it gives you the kilocalories you need to go. But it's also classed as grizzly and produces diarrhea. So this is our only option right now.
That well-known resource.
Diarrhea. Yeah.
Produces diarrhea.
So we actually need to. Where's my prioritize? You need to.
Wonder if there's a way that you could keep one of your people in constant diarrhea as a source of fuel.
Listen, I've had games where that does seem like it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, finish it. Thank you. So the AI's been pretty good. Like, it's caught itself a couple of times. Kind of like it's built itself into a corner a couple of times, but it's pretty easy to get itself out of. But most of the time, it's pretty good at like, oh, there's stuff that still needs done. So, you know, we'll go do that. I should also say the terrifying one is this. This is the germ overlay, so you can see stuff that is infected, and as you can see, everyone's pretty fucking dirty right now. So we need to fix that as well by oh god, where is it? Medicine? Yes, wash basin. Which
put it beside the toilet. That's a good idea.
So they can now go clean themselves after they're done. The problem is
why is your food thing not making food?
Because there's insufficient water. We need water. That's the other thing we need. So let's do some water. This is cool. So now
you're like juggling so many things all at once.
This is how all of this works. So the first thing we researched. Actually, I should probably get some more research going because this could be very important. Let's do that one. Plumbing. So plumbing becomes very useful. So we need to build a water pump in this big chunk of water. And then we need to power it, and we also need to get a pipe out of it. So let's get some liquid pipe out of here.
I can tell why you like this game so much.
Yeah, you can tell that this is very much my jam.
I forget that when you come home from work and you want to play video games, you actually just want to work more. Forget about that.
Yeah. Actually, okay. What's the best way to do this? So I do need that, but I don't need it right away. There's actually something else I can do first. Okay, so tiles. I need a floor down here for a start to do something which you will see in a second. And you also need a pitcher pump. Now, why would you need a pitcher pump if you have an actual pump? Because early access is the reason for that. There's currently no way to turn. Pumped water, like in a pipe, into water that they can then get out, like into bottles that they can then put in like the wash basin. There's currently no way to do that. I'm gonna just cancel all these sweep jobs because this is more. Oh, motherfucker! God damn it.
What have you done?
I cancelled all those jobs because
Okay.
I whip controlled there. Okay. So yeah, so there's currently no way to turn the water you take out of pipes into actual water for bottles that you can then put in stuff like the wash basin and all that kind of stuff. And there's stuff that for farming, for instance, you need water, like bottled water, to do some stuff.
Yeah. But wait, there's no way to do that.
But there's no way to do that. Okay, so they've now trapped themselves, right? Because they can't get across there. So I now need to say, okay, build this for now. Oh, fucking go away. Right. While you're there. She's just asleep.
What is that thing on the left?
This thing? I have no idea.
Steam gas. Oh, it makes steam. Okay.
Oh, huh.
It's hot water.
Hot water. Interesting.
I don't.
So they're going to have to stay in there because they're going to be tired.
I assume you can use that as some sort of resource.
Probably. I haven't seen how yet. But it does seem to
a resource.
But it's useful because it does seem to condense and produce water. So
what's the yellow liquid?
That is polluted water.
Polluted water. Oh, it's bad water.
There's already polluted water. Okay, somebody needs to come and free these guys because they're kind of stuck here right now. So somebody can come and definitely build this thing. There we go. Okay, they can now get back. Can't. Oh, okay, fine. Let's do that. Why can you not? Oh, because it's at least good at telling you why things are not happening. So like this one's like, I can't get here because you don't have any sandstone for me to build this with. So it's gonna go do that. I actually probably need to build a ladder that goes all the way down into this water, and I'll explain why in a second. Cancel that and build this ladder. So that can all go away. All this stuff is continually full. These guys are pooping constantly. All of this stuff is still lying out. This is slowly filling. Like all of this is bad all of the time. And that is this game. Basically,
yeah. Everything's bad at all times.
Everything's kind of bad all times. So there's other stuff here, like there are like native plants, so like mealwood, for instance, is can be harvested, and that can be used as an alternative food source. Because you can start farming them, and then you can start grilling them, which turns it into actual food, and all of this kind of stuff. So there's all of that.
So wait, that pump is gonna get pumped out, right?
So that's gonna turn water into bulk jars of water, basically. Yes.
Right.
And I also
they can then be used in other places.
So
like your sink needs plumbing, right?
No, so the wash basin just needs water dumped into it.
Ah, right.
It's not a plumbed thing right now.
Sure. It's just a bucket of water, basically, right?
So they need to hurry up and finish that, and then we need to dig out this, so they can get to the pump, and continue to build the rest of this platform. So there's weird things as well, like your water can get infected. So like if you drop a bunch of fertilizer in your water, it will eventually turn the water polluted. So you have to be careful about all of that kind of stuff. So now you can see they're starting to fill water. And since there's still a lot of stuff that needs water, like the micro musher and the wash basin, they're going to start doing that because that's kind of more important right now than anything else. And there we go. Okay, so we now have a supply of water. Except I don't like this, but fuck it, it'll do it for now. Let's make sure that this one can... Why are you not picking up muckroot? Because there's probably more important things to be doing right now. Probably. So this is why this is bad. Just watch this horrendous food being produced.
That's so bad.
It's terrible. And then also like I need it stored. So let's put them in there so they're not just lying on the floor.
As the reason that those things lying on the floor because they're not being picked up by
because nobody's picking them up. Maybe? Yeah, that's why.
No, I mean the like pear-looking things that you're like, why is nobody picking these up?
So these are muckroots.
Muckroot.
And this does seem to be being picked up by seeds. No. Agriculture. No. It's one of these things. Sandstone, copper, seeds, filtration. It's not listed there, which is interesting.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder if it's in here. Muckroot, there we go. So it's an edible thing, so it can now get put in there. So yeah, so hundreds of things happening at once. Just very quickly. Also, you've got this list here, which shows you like all of the stuff that you own right now. So you can see like exactly what people need. God, there's so much stuff. So let me just very quickly look through this. So you can start doing planters and do proper farming at one point, which is handy. There's plumbing, which I'll show in a little second. Full-on ventilation and gas management. There's the need for medicine, so you've currently got a med bed where people can heal themselves.
A massage table.
They get stressed, and this is a good way to relieve stress. And like you saw, like when people get stressed, sometimes they just hit things, like your valuable machinery, which causes problems. And I've lost the game because of that before.
Someone got angry.
Somebody got angry and knocked out my power generator, which meant all the power died, which was always fun. So this is kind of the start of the game, is you kind of getting a lot of stuff sorted.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just very quickly load
show a later game.
A game that's slightly further on. So this is, and I'm immediately going to pause, and I'm going to show everything that's happening. So this is a much nicer laid out base.
It's very organized, yeah.
Let's just so you can see how far I've gone. Here's the power system. Everything's currently powering. Okay. So I'm still on the hamster wheels, but my current project at this point was to get them off the hamster wheels, and I'll explain why in a second. We have plumbing. We have proper plumbing.
Oh God!
So there's my liquid pump.
Look at
that. Note the lack of water.
There's no liquid. Yeah.
This is about to become a problem. I'll show you in a second. But you have full-on plumbing. So if you run it, you can see like as the plumbing happens, you can see stuff being used and flowing through pipes and all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Currently, we have 2 lavatories and a shower. The waste, so the green ones are the outputs. So the waste will travel down this pipe and down here into my poop chute, which is currently down here. What else do we have in here that's new? You can get airlocks. So like if there's the polluted water generates carbon dioxide or generates bad gases. Right. So you can airlock it so that they don't do that. I've started to get a farm going down here, so I'm farming some mealworms, which they can then use to get down here. This is not taking anything right now, so you can just take everything that's getting cleaned up. I originally was getting some of the water out of here and putting it here next to the farming, because the farming needs actual water. This was my current crowning achievement. So
what the fuck is that?
So this is a hydrogen generator. This translates hydrogen into electricity. So this is a gas pump, because all of this is hydrogen, as it turns out. So I can pump my hydrogen in. You can see if I look at the which one of these? Ventilation. So you can see I've got gas coming in here. The fact that it's pink is hydrogen, so it's getting pumped in there. You can see it pumping away. That's translated to power, and the power is getting fed back into the system all the way through here.
Sure.
So I'm still feeling okay about this. This is all starting to go well. This all seems nice. You start to see some problems, like there's a lot of polluted water starting to happen here.
There's a lot of pee there.
Yeah. So at this point, when I got to this point normally in my game, I couldn't figure out why. Like, why is everyone pissing themselves? I assumed because everyone was working down here and the toilets are up here. I was like, oh, they're just not getting there. So I was like, I'll fix that problem in a little bit. But that wasn't the problem, and I'll explain why in a second. You also have, like, you can manage. There's a lot of stuff to show you.
Oh God. Okay.
So the airlock.
Oh yeah, that's like role assignment, right?
Yes.
Like you can set them to do specific things.
Even down to the levels of doors. For every person you have, you can tell them which way they can go through doors. So if you want, for instance, this was originally full of hydrogen, right? Yeah. Because I was pumping away at it. So I said, okay, I only want one guy to be able to get in here, so that he can deal with that, so that nobody else comes down to do menial tasks and die of hydrogen poisoning. So I can set that stuff in there. You've got full-on job management up here, which is just like, here's all the stuff you can possibly do, and what are you good at, and all this kind of stuff. And it shows you on here, like, this person's got a high tinkering score, so they're probably going to be pretty good at this. Manage who can eat what, which is also handy.
Okay.
Just general vitals. So you can say like how everyone's doing, how much they've eaten today, how their immune system's doing, all that kind of stuff. General numbers about how much change in stress and how much people are generating calories and all this kind of stuff, and then your research tree and all this kind of stuff. So I was feeling relatively good about this. Things were happening, and I was getting my farm up and running, which was my big goal. So let me just very quickly load about 20 cycles later, I think. This one, and I'll show you how everything kind of went wrong very quickly.
Is this just going to be all on fire?
So there's a lot of pee, as you can see.
There's a lot more red there.
Yeah. So here's what happened. For instance, this guy here is grimy and has soggy feet and is very stressed. He's not happy at all about things. Actually, I'll slow this down a little bit so you can see what's happening. So, as it turns out, what happened was I ran out of water. And because I ran out of water, it means nobody can use the toilets, because the toilets here need running water to be able to be used. So nobody can use toilets. And because nobody can use toilets, they're just peeing everywhere. And because they're peeing everywhere, the pee is running into the rest of the water that I do have, which is making it polluted. So water, pee and other fluids will just run downhill, as you can see. So everyone's peeing here, so it's falling down into here, into my hydrogen generation thing. Also, you'll note my hydrogen generator stopped working. That's because I've run out of hydrogen here.
That's a huge area. How much hydrogen do you pump?
As it turns out, it uses hydrogen pretty quickly. The other thing I learned is that if I look at the where are you, ventilation, there's a lot of non-pink things in this pipe now.
Yeah, that looks like a blockage.
So it's not blockage. What it is things that aren't hydrogen. So I had this impression that because I'd hooked this thing up to a hydrogen generator, it was just going to pump hydrogen. No, it will pump whatever is near it into the system. It turns out if you feed chlorine to a hydrogen generator, shit starts exploding. Like
it doesn't like that.
It starts breaking pretty quickly. So that's all happening. I've now ran out of water here, and because this is a sluice floor, it started to fall in here, which is not good. There's a whole bunch of polluted water happening.
This is all fucked here.
So this is the point. I built some more toilets because I was like, oh, they need toilets. Hadn't had a chance to plumb them in yet, so they're just pissing on the floor here. So that's making a problem.
God.
I'm running out of storage space. I have no resources left at all. My farms are useless because I planted a bunch of stuff that can't actually grow here, as I discovered, because it needs specific conditions.
Biomes.
I've lost now 1, 2, 3, 4 people. I lost them in the great food shortage of like 20 cycles ago. So they had to get buried, which was fun. Everything's dead. Everything gone. Everything is a complete mess right now. So this was the point where I went, fuck this, and have to start again. And then I think I went another like 5 cycles in from here. So you can see I'm trying to build up here to get a pump into this water. Basically what happened was I built this up, I built it along, started to build this liquid pump. Somebody pissed into the water and polluted that entire stream. And I was just like, well, that's that's all gone. That's all terrible.
P is very powerful in this game. Like P does a lot of things.
Polluted water, they don't like it. They really don't like it. Yeah, nobody's happy. Everyone's dead. It's it's
I wouldn't be happy in this situation either.
So I think that's everything. This is oxygen not included. It's really cool. It is an early access, like I said. There's some stuff. There definitely seems to be some missing things, like I said, like some of the transformations, like turning piped water into non-piped water and all of this kind of stuff is missing. There's a bunch of stuff on the tech tree that I don't think you can even make yet. But there's a lot of stuff they can still do to this, and I'm super happy to see where it's going. Also, I'll just very quickly take you back to the main menu, because I thought this was quite cool that I haven't seen in an early access game before. They have a upgrade timer, so like this is when the next patch is coming out. So like when I downloaded this, it was like, hey, next patch is in 2 weeks. All that kind of stuff.
That's cool. At least they're like actually like putting it front and center of like, no, we're working on this. That's good
for sure. So it's on Steam right now. It's $18.99, I think, early access.
It seems cool.
It's real cool. I lost a lot of time to this. Yeah, and I'm not doing particularly well, but you never really do until you've done it a bunch of times. Like, so the reason why this is called the tubular upgrade was one of the last big patches added like vacuum tubes for people, so you can like zoom them around the thing. I have not got fucking close to that anyway.
That seems very high grade tech, but
yeah. So thanks, Callum.
Don't pee on the floor, kids.
That's the lesson.
Yeah.